Testing, testing. Can you all hear me? There we go. Oh, okay. All righty. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for spending your Friday evening at the Wilmington Public Library. So on behalf of the staff, I'd like to welcome you and thank you for coming here. We're just so thrilled and excited to host Mr. Lee tonight because, as you know, there's just been some very acute assaults and attacks on black history. And one thing that we pride ourselves in as a public institution is we're here to build community, and we're here to preserve culture. And what gives me hope in these kind of perilous times is that people like Mr. Lee, they're still creating art. And as long as there's artists who are capturing the quiddities and the nuances and the richness of our culture through drama, our history can never be erased. So tonight is more than book talk and bourbon tasting. Tonight is an act of preserving our history, and so I'm grateful that our institution is a part of that. Because one thing that art and movies and film, what it does is that it allows other people to step into our interior, to step into spaces that history books and history professors can't step into. A history professor is not going to tell you that you don't put raisins in potato salad, that you don't. A history professor does not tell you that you don't eat pumpkin pie on Thanksgiving. But when you watch, a Malcolm Lee film and somebody gets disinvited from the cookout, then, our culture is being preserved and captured. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce our moderator. He's an entrepreneur. He's a podcaster. He's a businessman. He's a loyal Wilmingtonian, and we're so grateful to have Mr. Derek Reed here. Would you come on up?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Come on, Delaware, y'all do better than that. Make some noise. We got guests here. Come on, y'all got to do better than that. We got this hospitality. Delaware's in the building. Make some noise for yourself. Yo, I don't know. I'm excited already. Trust me when I tell you. Let's give it up for Jamar one more time in this wonderful Wilmington, Delaware. Y'all know we don't have a lot of stuff going on here like this, man. Can't take it for granted. We gotta enjoy it. I want you guys to relax. I want you to smile, laugh, enjoy yourself. This is an awesome event, and I want to keep the tradition going because they've been doing this for some time now. Let's give it up one more time for Wilmington Library. Let's not take it for granted. This is Black Excellence. Black Excellence. I'm just happy to see Jamar in a white blazer. Uses colorful. I'm gonna be honest. I started to wear a colorful one tonight, but I heard that he get his from Turkey. I couldn't order one from Turkey. I was like, nah. Burlington Coat Factory gonna have to work tonight. I'm sorry. How many like Burlington Coat Factory? Don't act like you don't. I'll come check the tag. I know what they sell because I got a couple of them. But anyway, are y'all ready for a good time tonight? How many seen Roll Bounce? Okay, come on, all right. How many seen Girls Trip? Where the ladies at? Now, how many seen The Best Man? Let me tell you something. Listen, I couldn't wait to meet Malcolm. I'm going to tell y'all, I almost lost my wife to The Best Man movie. I thought she liked the light-skinned brother. See, when Morris came out on that scene, the camera's flashing, I caught her gawking. Y'all know I caught her gawking. Oh, my God. I just took her to the island. We just came back from Mexico. She thought I was just taking her to the island. No, I want to get darker. I'm trying to come back chocolate so she can look at me like she looked at Morris in The Best Man. But listen, we got a good show. It's going to be great to be able to sit down with this iconic, hardworking black man that has represented black excellence. You know what I mean? Because we live in a time where everybody just ratchet and everybody got to spread. No, this is black excellence tonight. And we're going to talk about the movie a little bit. We're going to get into the novel a little bit. And we're going to get into his bourbon. Anybody like bourbon? I'm a bourbon drinker. I just started drinking Old Fat. Eric, where my brothers at? Brothers, make some noise. Don't be scared. I know y'all outnumbered. Man, it's okay you here. Because we're going to get this book. I already started reading the book. So I'm going to let you know I'm going to take the lead. All right? But we're going to have a good time tonight. Malcolm D. Lee is in the building. Got my little notes. We're going to do some giveaways. I also want to shout out Carl. Carl, where you at? I want to shout you out. There he is. Carl said, D, listen, man, come on through. I need you. I need you to bring that energy. I said, you already know I'm coming. I'm coming. But these are some good brothers, y'all. And they always been doing black excellence for some time now. And this is so happy that we can collaborate and do this together. Love y'all. Appreciate y'all. One more time for Wilmington Library. Let me give you a little background with Mr. Malcolm D. Lee. Malcolm D. Lee, acclaimed filmmaker, writer, and producer, celebrated for creating cultural renaissance comedies and drama that highlight the richness of the black excellence experience. Somebody say black excellence. There you go. A cousin of the director Spike Lee. Malcolm has carved out his own legacy in beloved films such as the Best Man franchise, earning critical acclaim, a loyal fan base, and honors including the NAACP Image Award and BET recognition. In 2005, Lee expanded his story into the literary world with the release of his debut novel, The Best Man, Unfinished Business. The first in the planned trilogy. We got 3 of them coming. See, y'all don't even know that. I just let y'all on the new stuff. And continues his journey as the iconic characters from his film series. In addition to his work in film and publishing, Lee and the cast of The Best Man launched Sable Bourbon, I'm down for that, a premium spirit born from their real-life relationship and chemistry, a tribute to the legacy of the franchise and its cultural impact. Demore, I need y'all to run that clip right now. We about to get ready to rumble. Let's go. And one more time for Malcolm
We never live enough for today. For once, just enjoy the moment. At least for a little while.
Hey, Dad,
Yes, sir.
this is gonna be great. Thanks.
Anything for you, my man.
What up, bitch?
I want to get up and do my thing now.
I feel good.
Oh man, there's a time for everything, players. We're in the real world now, man. The real world, real things.
Hey, it's not easy, man.
Hell no, it ain't easy. Hell no. We black is hard. Hard and us go hand in hand. But we ain't never gave up.
Just me, baby. Just me.
That's fine, son, but sometimes you gotta depend on others. Family, friends.
There are some people, when you see them, you just can't pretend anymore. Because they know you.
She's mine. She's my queen.
Mind, body, and soul.
My hero.
Because of her, we are friends for life. Because of her, we're family. Family's everything.
Did y'all hear that?
Turn that up.
Jesus.
Ain't God good? I just want you to know, son. I see you.
I love you, Dad.
I love you too, son.
I think we have to dance.
We're going to be us. Worthy, loving, magical us.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a warm welcome as you stand to your feet for our brother. Let's go, Malcolm D. Lee. Make sure your mic is on. Make sure it's my testing. No, hold on. There we go. Is there a click on it? Is there a click? Where's this click?
I can talk loud.
1 second. One more time for Malcolm D. Lee, y'all. We're trying to get the mic started real quick. Oh, here we go. Got a button on? They got the button hidden. It's on. It's coming on. He got it.
Test. There we go.
Come on, Dennis. The Dennis did that one with the light on. Come on, Dennis. Let's go now. It's Black Excellence. How you doing, Mr. Lee?
Mr. Lee is my father.
There you go.
I'm good.
Come on now.
I'm glad everyone showed up tonight, but I want to make sure everyone knows, especially the ladies, Morris Chestnut's coming. Okay? But don't get up and walk away.
Good.
Tay won't be here either, okay?
How you doing, Mr. Lee?
I'm great.
Listen, we got a chance to talk backstage. I was telling you all about our little state of Delaware. Tell everybody where you're from if they don't already know. Give a shout out to your state.
I'm from Brooklyn, New York.
Oh!
Okay. Wait, we got a lot of Brooklyn transplants here? Okay.
There you go.
Came for the tax break, huh? I hear that. Gotta save money in this day and time. All those tariffs. Amongst other things.
Listen, man, we are so happy that you come to our little state, Delaware. They call it the small wonder state. I call it the small wonderful state.
This is my first time here. I've driven through.
Wow.
But never stopped in. So thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, I was telling people, if you travel, everybody always asks you Delaware, or they say, is it a ride-through state? They be asking, is it black people here? 55% black.
I did wonder. All I knew was Joe Biden, and I was just like, and then I saw all these black people here. I'm like, okay, cool.
Wow. Hey, well, you're here now. We're so happy to have you here. It's an honor. It's a blessing. I tell them you are our brother. You know what I mean? And we're so happy about your success and what you have done for our culture. So we really thank you for that.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. We're going to get into some questions, man. Is that all right with you, man? We're gonna break it down in a couple of little groups and all that stuff. And, so I want to talk about real quick, real family. So I heard that your cousins was Spike Lee. How was it growing up, with your cousins being Spike Lee, the movies, and how's it impacted you?
Yeah, he's 13 years my senior. He is the oldest of 5 kids or 6 kids in his family, and we both grew up in Brooklyn. Yes. He was in Fort Greene, and my family grew up in Crown Heights. In fact, it was my Aunt Jackie that told my mom, "You should think about moving to Brooklyn," because we were in Queens to start, and we didn't really grow up together per se, because again he's older than me, over a decade older than me. But when he was in film school, after he graduated Morehouse, went to NYU, he lived in my parents' basement. Wow! And so I got to see up close the development of a world-renowned filmmaker that I didn't know at the time. All I knew was that he was my cousin, and he was a little eccentric. He loved music. He loved sports. Yes. And then I saw him, making little movies. Wow. And I was just like, what are you doing this for? And he was like, oh, I'm going to make movies. I was like, for the theater? Wow. He was like, yeah. And I was like, come on, please. Because movies to me at that point were, Star Wars and Raiders of the Lost Ark and these really big, spectacles. So when he made it, it was like, oh, this was something that was doable. That he made it possible and demystified the filmmaking process. So I got to work with him when he started, taking off. And so really, from doing editing in on school days back in '87, summer of '87. I was a production assistant then with him, and I got to see how things all worked. So it went from there, and worked on a number of movies after that. So yeah, growing up, Spike was he was always a lover of movies. I remember one day we were he was like, let's go see a double feature, and so I was he was running to the train station. It was hard to keep up with him. And we went and saw, I remember we saw this movie by Woody Allen called Zelig, and then this other movie called The Right Stuff. It was, back in the day when they did double features. And so he introduced me to, or furthered my love of movies, and I would say I got to a place where I started to analyzing movies.
Wow, that's awesome, man. I mean, just to have a family member that's already in the business, a lot of people don't have the opportunity or that gift, in a sense, to watch someone that's on that type of level, because it seemed like Spike Lee kind of took off real fast. And I know it's a lot of stuff that you saw, but it seemed to us when we see it like,
of
wow,
course,
he took off.
Right.
So she's got to have it, so.
It's a long road to an overnight success.
Yeah.
And he was going to do a movie prior to that. Prior to doing She's Gotta Have It, and the funding fell through, and you hear him tell the story like he was they had spent all this money, and then the Screen Actors Guild pulled the plug on him, and he was soaking in a tub that was in our basement, and he just he was in there just crying,
wow.
and shriveled up like a prune. He said, I didn't know anything about that until much later. Right. But I knew that he hadn't got to make his movie, so it's a long road, and Spike had to kick down the doors to let other people in.
So even in that, you're seeing his ups and his downs, and of course, like you said, starting out, you see a lot of downs. But what clicked in you that made you say, "I'm going to keep pursuing this"? What clicked to say, "I'm still going to go forward and do this and create your own movies"?
Spike always did encourage me to write black film. He always he encouraged me to write. Period. So I was always already a person that liked to write, liked to create stories, liked to act, liked to draw. Play with action figures. So like these were just things that I had a natural interest in. I also was an actor. I mean, I acted in plays in school, so I knew that I did. I remember one day seeing because I thought I wanted to pursue acting, and I was watching Entertainment Tonight, and there was this audition for some movie. I don't know what it was, but I remember the line was Around the Block, and I was like, that struck me that I was like, oh, that's not something I'm going to pursue, because that's going to be too difficult, right?
Yes.
And believe me, filmmaking is difficult, but it's something that I feel like I was made to do. I'm very comfortable being in charge. I'm very comfortable with a strong vision. I think what happened was he had encouraged it, and I got to see it up close, and it just encompassed so many things that I was interested in. From the time that I was little. And so by the time I was 19, I went to Georgetown University just down the road, and I was like, I want to be a filmmaker. And by the time I was 19, I knew I wanted to be a filmmaker. I wanted to pursue it.
Wow, that's awesome. Give him a hand. I mean, just to even see that, like you said, the ups and downs, and be able to go through it. So we had the opportunity to have a flashback of all the films and stuff like that. The Eclipse was awesome. Wasn't Eclipse awesome? It took you back. It was nostalgia. Morris Chestnut. We know. Listen,
I heard people acting up in the back there.
Listen.
Like, ow, ow, ow. I said, again, he's not coming.
See, I knew it was coming.
He's not going to be here.
He better not. My wife here, I'm going to leave singles. Cause look at my babe. Nah. But anyway, so we got the chance to watch a couple clips, and it was a nostalgic moment, just seeing what you have done for our culture. And now we're here to talk about your novel, The Book, Unfinished Business.
Right.
Now my first question, what inspired you to transform your movie, The Best Man, into a novel? And how did the storytelling process differ?
Yeah, so, after Best Man Final Chapters, which was on Peacock, that was the series, eight episode series.
Yes.
I said, okay, we're finished. I wanted to name it Final Chapters because I was done. It was very difficult to mount a television show, mount a movie, getting all those actors back together, demands of the studio, demands of a network. And I said, okay, I'm finished, because it was very difficult to do. And so, when the smoke cleared and the dust settled, I was kind of like, well, I had a friend that a screenwriter named Malcolm Spellman, who said, you should do best man books. And I was just like, huh, because I consider myself a storyteller at heart, right? That's that first and foremost. I'm a storyteller. Secondly, I feel like I've always loved the written word, and I've fantasized about writing a novel. And I thought, okay, I've got characters that already exist. They have a backstory, and I should try it, and I could also deliver stories to the audience much quicker than I did in between the movies and the television show. I mean, It was 14 years between Best Man and Best Man Holiday, 9 years between Holiday and the final chapters, and I said, okay, well, I can deliver to them faster. Plus, the fans said they wanted more. They just said they wanted and needed more.
Yes.
So I said, okay, here's an opportunity to do that. And in doing, I knew that I wasn't going to be able to do it by myself, so I employed the talents of Jane Allen, who's a writer an accomplished writer in her own right. She's written the Black Girls Must series. And she's great, and she had this great wealth of experience, as in life. She was in the music industry. She was an attorney. She's from Detroit. She worked for Prince for a while. She worked with Lady Gaga. She's had a wealth and built some businesses. She was an entrepreneur, and so I really liked her life experience. And then I also liked that she asked me some very pointed questions. And she said, so why are you doing this? I said, well, I want to exercise new muscle. I want to continue this telling the story, what have you. And she's like, well, no. What are you doing this for? I said, I don't understand the question. What do you mean? Like, and she said, do you want to win? And I was like, huh, I love that attitude.
Yes.
Right? And her feeling was like, if I'm gonna, do this with you, then let's do it all the way. Don't half-ass this. Like, let's go in both feet in the deep end and try and make it happen. So, I love that spirit. I love that attitude. And my answer was yes, I do want to win.
Yes.
I do want to make the best thing possible. I do want to tell a story that is literary, that we're going to use words. This is not an exercise to, have a piece of IP that will turn into a movie or a television show. I want it to be a book.
Good.
I want it to be a standalone book. And at the same time, make something that's visual and very true to the movies and the television show, and characters that people recognize, but who are growing and evolving.
Right.
So, I think we did all of that in the book and more, and I still think it is a cinematic experience.
I'm glad you said that, because in reference to my next question, I'm sure when you're creating a movie, it's time restraint because you have to fit it all in a certain time.
That's correct.
But as an author, you have more time. As a matter of fact, you're probably even on time. And I think my next question would be, what are the aspects of the characters? Was there aspects of the character or the plot that you was eager to explore, or to go deeply into the novel for the character background? Because again, you don't have time restraints now. It's a
That's
novel.
a great question. I think, I thank you for asking it, because that was kind of part of the reason for doing it, to give these characters more depth than we've actually seen. And I think, the actors, displayed as much as they could on screen. We filmed it in a way that we thought was, was telling and layered and all these things. But in a book, you get to really delve into the psyches of each character. You get to expose layers. You get to talk about backstory.
Yes.
You get to know some history in a way that you don't know by watching the movies. You can assume a lot of things, but you're not going to necessarily know everything there is to know about these characters and what motivates them and why they made certain decisions. Now, and one of the characters that I really wanted to make sure had her own words and had her own story was Robin. Wow. There were people who were very, very upset with Robin at the end of final chapters.
Little ladies, where's she at?
And it's like, yes, I was mad with her.
Robin's not coming, y'all, either. Don't listen.
And I get it. It's an unconventional decision that she made, right? To choose herself.
Yes.
and to choose what she wanted, what she needed out of this relationship when it's at the half point of her life where she wasn't getting the reciprocity from her marriage. And she wanted to pursue what she wanted to pursue, what moved her. And so, people were angry, and I said, okay, fine, that you can have that opinion, but I want you to understand more her perspective. So I want to do that with her. I want to do that with Jordan. I want to do that with Harper. Right. So that's what this first book does, is explore chapter by chapter the POVs of each of these characters, Harper, Robin, and Jordan. And the other characters make appearances. They speak. Wow. They're part of the narrative. But that was what book one was intended to do. Book two is going to get into Lance. And get into Lance and his new wife.
Sorry, Malcolm.
And no, it's good. It's all I love the passion. Murch and Candace, as well as, and then we're going to get into Quentin and Shelby as well.
Wow, that's awesome, man. Oh, y'all go ahead and clap for that. That's right. And it's a trilogy.
It's a trilogy. Yeah. So, a planned trilogy.
And as we all can hear, you can hear the hard work and the dedication and the discipline that it takes to write a movie and all this stuff. What was your challenge adapting it into a book? You know what I mean? What were the challenges that you had to overcome, and did you overcome those challenges?
Yeah, I didn't feel the biggest challenge was time, and was I going to be able to have the time to do and make it, great. And so that was the biggest challenge. Is like I knew I had the wherewithal, because most of my screenplays that I've ever written have been way too long. And the thing is, you can't put everything into a movie. It's impossible. You can't put everything into a book either. But you have a lot more room in a book, and I welcomed that. Number one, and number two, it was a great canvas to be able to play on. Because there's so much that you can explore. You can use all five senses. It's not just the sight and the sound, but the feel, taste, smell, all these things that, when you're reading a book, you get to really experience.
Yes.
In a different way than you do in movies. And so I would say, my biggest challenge was trying to co-write the book with Jane while trying to do everything else I was trying to do. If I had the time alone to do the book, it probably would have happened faster, and it still happened pretty fast. I mean, we started working together in earnest, I would say, mid-March of 24.
Yeah.
And then we finished around, I would say roughly around December. That was pretty much it, and before we had to do a little bit of editing here and there just to clean up.
Yeah, awesome. I was talking to Malcolm before he came out, and I was telling him just how blown away I was to hear him talking about black excellence. We don't get a lot of that. Of course, I joked about in the beginning how this ratchet culture and to each his own, But to hear him talk about, and I started reading the book, and just to hear you talk about the black excellence, their careers, their lifestyle, the things they do, the brunches, the condos, the cars, and it's not just for the ladies, fellas. For the fellas, make some noise real quick. Where y'all at? Yes, okay. Oh, we up. And I started reading the book, and I'm gonna be honest. Even as a writer myself, it felt like I was getting into a sports car. And then for those who got a sports car, I got Ferrari. It's like, no, I'm just messing with you. But look, it was like getting in a sports car when you start it up. You hear that engine, and I was like, this. I started reading it. I was like, okay. And you know how you see that first? You pull up to the first red light. And I got to the red light, and you pause for a minute, and you rev the motor up. That's how I felt when I started reading the book. And then that light turned green, and it took off. And the pages just start taking off. And then you see the other lights turning green, and you're like, I'm going now. And then you get to that other red light, slows you down, like, whoo, this thing is nice. That's how I felt about reading the book, the first chapter. I said, this thing is nice.
That's a great metaphor.
I was like, I got to the red light, I said, okay, we working with something. So I just wanted to say that.
Thank you. No, it's what's been great is, people that have read the book so far, really enjoy it, and they're reading it. They say it's a page turner. They're reading it in a day. They're reading it in 2 days. Yeah. And I love that. I mean, Jane gets a little bit mad. She's like, "Come on, have some respect. It took us a year to write this." I'm like, "Yeah, but better to have them say I couldn't put it down than to be like, when is this thing gonna be over?" We're very proud of the manuscript.
Awesome.
And the story that we created. I think we have the advantage of characters that you've already known and seen. You don't have to cast them in your brain already. They're already there. There's a few new characters that you can take your pick on who who you see in that role. But it's a great advantage that we have in seeing these and knowing who the characters are and hearing their voices and knowing their facial expressions.
Good point.
So we did have that advantage that so for me it was when we got into certain situations, I knew what Harper would say. I knew how Lance would react. I knew what how Jordan would feel. So it wasn't hard once we understood what the structure was going to be.
That's awesome. As you can hear us when we talk about The Best Man or Girls Trip or whatever, all the movies, you can sense and feel the connection that is done for a culture. How do you feel that you want the novel? Do you want us to connect the same way, or is it something different that you want us to connect with the novel?
I think it's largely the same. Look, I'm always down for us, right? Like, I've always, my entire career has been about uplifting and humanizing black people, normalizing black life in America.
Yes, there we go.
Particularly when it comes to black men, right? Like my company is called Black Mailed Productions, MALED, and I'm very protective of brothers. I'm very protective of black men and wanting them to have their full humanity on display. So if it happens in the movies, if it happens in a book, that's even better. And again, a book is deeper than a movie. And a book is always better than a movie, right? And like, I want people to read it and come through the experience on the other side of feeling like that it's a reflection of who they are, it's a reflection of who they want to be. They can see themselves in the characters. They can see their friends in these characters, and then the experiences. It's a very much an adult book. It's an adult experience in terms of growth, both emotional and men and women, absolutely.
Yes.
Career, life after divorce, the decisions we're making, self-care, self-help, sex. There's a lot going on there too. There's very spicy sex scenes in this book. But Jane wrote all the nasty ones.
Yes. One more time for Mr. Malcolm Lee, y'all. We're gonna transition from the book and the films. We're gonna get into another venture that you have embarked on. Let's get into the bourbon. Let's talk about that. I mentioned it briefly. The bourbon drinkers in here, make some noise. I'm old-fashioned. Okay, all right, ladies. I see y'all drinking. So let's get into the bourbon. You and a couple guys, friends.
Yeah. So that's a venture that after Best Man Final Chapters, in that show. And throughout the Best Man franchise, the fellas get together, they have a brown spirit, right? And so what we wanted to do, or what happened was, Harold Perrineau, who plays Murch in the series, said, "Hey, we do so much of this in the series. Why don't we make our own?" Yeah. And I was like, well, why not? So, so it was myself, Harold, Morris, and Tay. We approached Bespoken Spirits, said we wanted to do this. We want to be ambassadors, not just ambassadors, but owners of this brand, and really be involved in what this brand was going to be. So it's a brown liquor. We want everything from the name to the packaging to the juice itself,
class
to the yes, it does exemplify class.
Yes,
there's a richness to it, but it's also an accessibility to it. That's also what I want to say about the. You mentioned the Best Man characters, and yes, they're an aspirational bunch. They are very successful, but I didn't want them to be in the upper deck where you couldn't reach them.
Yes.
I want these are very down to earth characters, and this is a down to earth spirit. I mean, it only retails for $59.99.
Plug, there it is.
But I mean, it's a great taste. It's very smooth, and what was great about it was, when it came to decision making about everything about it, whether it was the logo, which is bottled in brotherhood,
the name,
to the name Sable, to the juice itself, to what the messaging we wanted to be, we all agreed.
Yes.
It was like, okay, it should be that, it should be this, it should be that, and so there wasn't a whole bunch of consternation of I don't know about this. we all agreed, and we are really much, very much behind it. We launched last August, and we keep building. We keep trying to go to different states and get in restaurants and bars and obviously liquor stores, and we're making great progress.
Wow, that's awesome. So so we talked about,
and it's great over by itself straight. It's great on the rocks. It's great in a cocktail.
Keep it neat.
So, you can keep it neat. You can do it with a rock, or you can do it on. You can absolutely do it in a cocktail. It's great.
How do you like it?
I like an old fashioned.
My guy. Good stuff. Good stuff. So
and by the way, you're gonna get to taste it tonight.
Oh,
everybody's gonna taste it. We're gonna go in after we're done.
Y'all
here,
heard that, right? We all get to taste it.
All get to taste the sable.
Good stuff.
You will enjoy it.
Good stuff. So we talked about film. We talked about book, and we talked the novel, and we talked about bourbon. Does all of them carry the same creativity in the vision, or is it different? Like far as the work ethics of the film, the novel, and then the bourbon, does it carry similarities?
I think it's all related. It's all And again, I'm not the only one. On the bourbon, but it's certainly a big part of me. It's part of our friendship that we developed when we got together back in 1998 when we made The Best Man. And these guys not only were integral into my career, in making my first movie, but they were at my wedding. And so I love those guys. We have a good time working together. So what you see, when we get together, whether it's you seeing behind the scenes stuff of us or behind the scenes stuff of with Selling Sable, it's all very real and authentic. I'm not that good of an actor that I can say that I enjoy these guys' company and act like I do when I don't, but I do. And so, yeah, I think when it comes to the book, to the bourbon, to the movies, it's all in the same playing field. In that I'm trying to make sure that we are represented in a way that I think is authentic.
Yes, black excellence. That's okay. Give a hand for that. Definitely. Watching your journey, I'm seeing elevation. I'm seeing growth. I'm seeing, again, films, the novels, just the family tutelage from Spike Lee. How do you feel that it has helped you in growth personally? Did it change you? Did it elevate? How did it feel about that?
Well, I mean, look, you can't help but. I think it was whatever career I chose to pursue. I would hope that I would have growth. Having to tell stories about people and characters has certainly, made me much more keenly aware of human behavior. Starting with my own, starting with the people that I know, and depending on what movie or story I'm trying to tell, I'm going to get more in depth with that. I mean, one of the things that I did in the book, we knew that Robin had moved to Ghana, and I had never been before last year, and so we were writing this first draft, kind of based on some stories I had heard, some conversations I had had with some people that I knew that had been to Ghana, and that live in Ghana, and then stuff on the internet, and then Jane was like, look, we really got to go to really get a sense of it. So I was like, okay, let's go. And I started looking at the tickets, and I was like, oh, shit. Maybe I'll just go. And so I went, and, we had just finished the first draft. And, when I came back and, after setting foot on the soil and interacting with the people and, trying on the clothes and eating the food and breathing the air of our ancestors,
yes,
who had been snatched from there. It was a great. I had a much greater and fuller understanding of what life would be like for someone outside who was not a native-born Ghanaian. There's a lot of people that have relocated there from all around the diaspora, whether they're from the UK or Jamaica or the United States, who are very happy to be there, and they don't consider themselves expatriates. They call themselves returnees. And yes, I think that's a beautiful sentiment, and I think that's part of that was really filled up Robin's journey. So when I got back, her section of the book got much more full, and you can feel it in the pages. You know, you're going to actually be transported to Ghana. You're going to be transported to Malibu, where Jordan lives. You're going to be transported to Brooklyn, New York, where Harper's having his bachelor life, and he's outside a little bit. And you know, we're going to get to also know a little bit about Jordan's backstory, because she's, you know, born and raised in Chicago, and where she comes from. So there's a little bit of that, and it's very difficult to do that in a television show or a movie, because it's, you know, it's very cost prohibitive to do something like that. So with a book, you get to explore a lot more and get transported to places. So that was a great part of, you know, really delving into how you're going to fill out a narrative. So going to Ghana was just one of those examples.
Wow, that's awesome. Anybody been to Africa? Africa? There you go. All right, motherland. That's good stuff. Look at that. You say you live in there. Africa's a beautiful place if you get the opportunity to go. Everything Malcolm says is right on point.
I 100%
oh, right
agree.
on point.
We should all go back and maybe stay.
Yes.
Until things blow over.
Good stuff. Again, I mean, your perseverance, your dedication, your longevity. You've been doing this for some years now. If you don't have to give no secrets, but what makes you stay motivated and inspired after all these years? What makes you...
I got 3 kids in college, man. I got to make money still. But the truth of the matter, I love what I do, and I love working with actors. I love creating stories. You know, it's a beautiful life that I have. That I don't have a regular 9-to-5 schedule, but I'm very disciplined about like when I got to get to work, and that I'm making my own schedule, and I'm getting to do to pursue what I love to do. It's a gift, and I don't want to squander it. I want to keep going, because my son also wants to pursue filmmaking, and so I'm gonna try to teach him the ropes. But I don't see myself. It's funny. My wife and I both talk about. She's a psychotherapist, but we both talk about like not retiring. We don't really see a day when we're going to retire. Even though I want to enjoy some life. So sometimes there was like a time like about 2 years ago, like right after I had done final chapters, where I was like, I ain't doing shit. I am not doing a damn thing. And
leave me alone. Everybody.
And for about a year, well, we also had the writer's strike, so that kind of ushered things along a little bit. But then I don't like being idle. I don't like being stagnant. If I didn't pursue this, I don't know what I would do, and I'm still happy doing, even though it frustrates me at times. And the frustration is really more on the side of the people that you need permission from, or the people that you need to like. Because my job is to make the product. Their job is to promote the product. And like, I can try to do both, but that's not my expertise, right? And so like, when they don't do what I'm asking them to do, or if I'm not seeing the results, I'm kind of like,
yes.
Well, I got to do your job too, So that's where frustration, lies. But that makes me say, okay, I have to figure out other ways of trying to use promotion myself. So I don't see myself retiring or stopping anytime soon. I still love what I do.
Awesome. That's awesome. So, and then you mentioned your son. So rather, and I'm talking about in reference to young people, whether it's film, whether it's novels, whether it's the bourbon, what advice would you give someone that's young that want to break into the industry in this culture we in now with the streaming? It's just a whole digital world now. So what advice? I'm sure things have changed over the years.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's easier to make stuff now, but because it's easier, everyone's doing it. And so the content is everywhere, and like, people every day, they're scrolling on Instagram or X or YouTube, and we're consuming a lot. And I always, like, my youngest son does a lot of consuming. I said, you need to stop consuming so much and make something, right? It is tough to like stand out, but there is a lane that can be taken advantage of. I think that right now, the movie and television industry is not expanding; it is contracting.
Yes.
So it's not like there's going to be a wealth of opportunities, for new people, unless you can create your own lane.
Good stuff.
And that's not an easy thing to do. There's a lot of trial and error that has to happen. When I was coming up, I had written 5 screenplays before I wrote The Best Man, right? And I wasn't even trying to write The Best Man, but what I was trying to do with The Best Man, I wasn't trying to direct The Best Man. I was only trying to write something that I thought I could sell. And why did I think I could sell it? Because wedding movies were very popular at the time. So I was looking at the industry, right? Wedding movies were very popular at the time. There was not a black wedding movie to date. I was trying to make sure that I was done writing that thing by the time the movie Soul Food came out. Why? Because Soul Food was a movie that was not about the hood. It was about a family.
Yes.
And it was starring Vivica Fox and Nia Long and Vanessa Williams, and Babyface was producing it. If that movie did well, they would be looking for the next Soul Food. Not that The Best Man was ever going to be the next Soul Food, but it's on that level of just black people living life.
Yes.
And so I was like, okay, if I can be ready by the time that does well, they're going to be looking for something in that vein. So you have to be strategic about what you're pursuing. Why? Not just because, I want to get on, I want to be famous, I want to get a lot of clicks, I want to get a lot of likes. That's not what's gonna make you get in the industry, right? It'll help, but you have to start in a much more pure place. Why do you want to do it? Why are you pursuing it? For me, I was put on this earth to do this. That's what I truly feel, right? And there's gonna be people that are gonna say, that's how I felt. Okay, well, show me, right? What are you doing to prove that is the case?
Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. There was another question I want to ask you. Of course, there's ups and downs in everything we do. Like I said, what are some of the lessons that you learn? A couple, Malcolm.
Yeah, there's a lot. I think particularly early on in my career, I had a way that I wanted to be. I wanted to be perceived. I was like, I'm a writer director. I'm what the French call an auteur. Right? Yes. And I'm like, that's what I'm going to be. And that's, and I don't come to me with a script that you want me to direct. I'm not going to do it. It's not going to be as good as something that I'd write. And don't, expect me to write something that I'm not going to direct. And a couple of times, things came to me that I didn't consider because, that was my stance. And I think also pursuing things because you think it's going to advance your career. Like, that's kind of a mistake too, but that's a little bit, those are almost opposites, right? You have to, what I've learned is you have to, take seriously any opportunity that's given to you, right? Just because you're the hot thing now, you're the prom queen right now, everybody wants to dance, doesn't mean they're going to want to dance with you tomorrow. It doesn't last that long. There's new flavor of the month like every month. And it's like, oh yeah, what have you done for me lately kind of business. So you really have to, what I've learned is you have to, I'm not saying pimp yourself out or anything like that, but you have to be strategic always about what you're going to do, what you're trying to pursue. And you can't just, be flippant about stuff, and you can't just think, put all my eggs in one basket. You have to develop multiple things. And I was a person that said, oh no, I'm going to make this movie because they want to make this movie, and I'm not reading anything. I don't want to do it. And then you get to the end of the road, and it's like, well, that actor doesn't want to do it, and we're not going to make it about that actor. So that movie's dead now. And it's like, what? And I've passed up all these other opportunities. It happens. It can happen. So yes. But when I got to be post 50, I was like, whatever, and I pretty much say like, I'm not flippant still, but like I'm a lot more like, I was much more compromising than I was in the beginning. I'm less compromising now, Although I don't know how compromising I was in the first Best Man either. It's an ebb and flow, man. I can't. There's no one way to be. You just have to just ride the wave. It's literally riding waves.
Wow. I'm gonna have one more question. Then we're gonna ask you guys to ask a couple questions. We'll actually keep it simple and no more chestnut questions.
You can ask.
You can ask. He ain't coming.
He ain't not coming.
You're not coming. I hate to ask you this question, but I have to ask this question. What's next after this? I mean, I need like DM sit my ass down, but what's next?
No, it's fine.
What's next after this? The novel.
We still have to write the next two in this trilogy.
Right.
So we're working on that.
Wow.
I just shot a movie that's going to come out sometime in the spring, probably. It's a Blumhouse picture. It's an erotic thriller that's got Lynn Whitfield and Chloe Bailey.
Wow.
And it's a great cast, and it's an interesting movie. And so we'll see when that comes out, and then developing a number of projects, including Kennedy Ryan's Before I Let Go series, Skyland series.
Wow.
Amongst other things, and just trying to stay busy. And there's no shortage of work right now, because I have a production company that has a television and a film deal. So, just trying to keep it going.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Malcolm D. Lee. Wasn't that awesome? Felt like we was in class. We learned some stuff today. I'm going to ask a few questions. Anyone got questions, raise your hand. I'm going to try to come to all 20 of y'all, 30 of y'all. I'm going to try to keep it real short. We're going to do a couple of questions. We also going to have 2 trivia questions about the film. See if you guys can get in and win something. We'll tell you how you obtain your prize. So it looks like I'm going to walk over here real quick and ask a few questions. You don't mind, Mr. D? Okay.
I don't mind. Bring them on.
Let me see who we got over here. I seen you first in the melanin. Go ahead, stand up.
Hello, welcome to Delaware.
Thank you. Very glad to be here.
My question, in your Best Man's movies, why of all your characters, Mia was the one that had to die?
Put you around the spot.
No, that's fine. No, that's a fair question. I actually got this question in Houston, also on the tour. I will tell you why. One reason one of the things I wanted to do with the Best Man holiday was I knew I was going to do a funeral, right? And I knew I wanted to be like the movie that inspired the original Best Man was The Big Chill. Big Chill is about a funeral. One of the college friends that dies, right? So I really want to do that because I really want. First of all, I wanted black people to have an opportunity to emote at the movie theater. I wanted us to have that experience. I wanted us to have that terms of endearment, beaches type of experience at the movies, which I don't think, at least I didn't think at that time we really got in a way that wasn't like, a tragedy, like, someone was killed or shot or what have you. Now, as far as Mia is concerned, there's a number of reasons. Number one, there's no other cast member, no other character that would have gained the sympathy that she did other than her, right? Not Quentin, not Lance, not Robin. Some of y'all might have been, too bad. No, but I'm just saying, like, it was all, but Lance, it was also a test of Lance's faith, right? That was what I wanted to do as well. So, at a certain age, these things happen to us, right? We lose people, our health fails. These are like, it's a reflection of what can actually happen in life. And I knew I wanted Mia to be the one to fall, and it would be the thing that there's a fractured friend group that had to galvanize around that one person whose mission it was to bring everybody back together for her last Christmas. So that's the reason why. If someone else,
awesome.
Jordan wouldn't have planned everybody. She'd have died in silence probably. She'd have gone off to Bora Bora or something. You know, I've been like, yep, I'm dying, y'all, but I'm gonna have a good time. So yeah, that was the reason.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to grab one from each section real quick. We would probably circle back. Real quick, we're gonna have a reception right after this. But to come to the reception, you gotta buy a book. That's cool. You gotta buy a book. So I saw one hand. Someone said, "I already got mine."
Let me tell you something.
I'm coming to you.
This book will be the best $20 you will spend all summer. I'm telling you, you will have.
It's the Lamborghini. I'm trying to, fellas. Where y'all at, fellas? We need to go grab a book too as well. You ready?
Hi, Malcolm. So I presume that you may see a lot of yourself in Harper. Am I wrong? Am I right? And what do you see of yourself in the other male characters?
Well, it's funny. Yes, Harper's part of me, but Jordan is part of me. I want to be Quentin. You know, I want to be able to have those quick, snapbacks with people. I've gotten better over the years, but Quentin is always that dude that, like, oh man, he got me, and I wish I should have said that to him. Like that's the 5 minutes later, thought. But I will say that I know all these guys. It's easy for me to say, oh, I'm Harper because I've got I'm the writer, I'm black, I'm got glasses, I'm somewhat intellectual. But it's just, I would say that all the characters are a big part of me for decades now. So, yeah.
Very good. Malcolm, we talked backstage briefly about how a lot of women just gravitated to the movies and the books and all that stuff, and we briefly talked about it. It's just not, you didn't write it just for, or you didn't write it just for women in a sense.
I didn't write it for women at all.
See, there you go. I wanted to hear you make sure you said that.
But let me be very clear. Like when I saw Waiting to Exhale, when I've seen other movies that don't center black men, right? Or when they do center black men, it wasn't, first of all, some of them weren't black men I recognized, and some of them were archetypal portrayals of black men that I was just like, I don't know these dudes, it's not me, it's not something that I think is overwhelmingly positive. And not that I'm trying to be positive, I'm trying to be authentic. So my writing The Best Man and centering 4 black men at it was a response to Waiting to Exhale, and to the 4 women in that movie who were all very real and good friends, and had their layers and their attitudes and their points of view. And I wanted to make sure we did that with Best Man. So I want to let black men in particular know this book and the whole franchise is for you, right? Women came along for the ride, and I so thank women for coming along for the ride.
Yes,
I did not expect it, when I first wrote it, but I cast well, and I think the women were like, "Yeah, I want to see that." And look, it makes sense that a movie surrounding a wedding would attract women, but that is also our day too, right? And so that I wanted to make sure that men understood that, and certainly men understand that this book is for them as well, because I know that when the book clubs start happening, women are going to be very siloed and in their own spaces talking about, their perspective on the book. And I want men to be able to weigh in with their own opinions, because there's a lot to unpack.
Yes. And we want the fellas to read too, fellas. We got to read more. We got to read more books. Give it a hand, ladies. Give it a hand for that. We want you to read more.
And by the way, you ain't got to read. You can listen to
audio.
it on audio.
The audio book.
If you don't want to read,
audio drops the 15.
But the reading experience is going to transport you in a really good way, in a dynamic way. So
awesome.
The women, please read. Men, please read.
Awesome. I tried to grab a question from each section, and over here, anybody have a question section? We're gonna go back to start. Got a brother over here. Brother. Nobody. Who we got? Did I pass somebody? I seen the brother. Let me get the brother. I got you.
Yeah, Malcolm, it's nice to meet you, brother. I was wondering, Spike Lee was one of my favorite movie makers back in the day. Would Do the Right Thing and all the things like that. But when Best Man came out, boy, 1, 2, 3 times I watched this whole thing. I was wondering, is it possible that you and Spike Lee would get together and do something, as a unit?
The Best Man was a movie that Spike produced. Spike produced that movie. So will we reunite for another project? I would love to. But he's doing his own thing. I'm doing mine. Hopefully we intersect at some point. That would be great. I would love to make that happen.
Awesome question. Awesome.
Hi, Malcolm.
Hello.
Thanks for being here. Looking forward to reading the book. I'm also a Kennedy Ryan fan, so is there anything you can share about before I let go?
Not really. I mean, I just spoke to Kennedy this morning. We were talking about that, and so I think we're coming. We're getting to a good place with it. It's hard to. Again, I think it's very difficult to translate from book to screen because you all have your own ideas about how things go, how it made you feel, and how it impacts you. And if it doesn't deliver that, then it's a disappointment, right? So. So I have a decided advantage because y'all already seen who these characters are with this book. But as far as Kennedy in the Skyland series, we're in deep development and we hope to make something great.
Awesome question. Somebody had a question over here. Okay.
Thank you. Sorry. Hi, Malcolm.
Hi.
Hi, I'm Shakira. And the first thing I want to know, this is not my question, but did you have a good time yesterday in D.C.?
Oh, with the
Deltas? Our
Deltas?
convention. Yes.
I see that shirt.
Yeah.
Yes, I did. Absolutely.
Okay, good. Ooh, oh, my sword's on. Okay. My second question is, you mentioned earlier that when you saw the line of people to be in a movie and you knew right then and there you did not want to be an actor, was there anything else that happened that made you confirm that this is what you were supposed to be doing?
You mean being a filmmaker?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that there was any kind of eureka moment. I think it was a culmination of things. I think, I've been telling my kids like, you have an advantage right now to pursue what you dream and what you want to what you want to pursue. But I've changed that a little bit to say, okay, you have to also pursue what you're good at. And, because you ain't going to be on my house forever. But I think that after, having done plays, having written journals, having written plays, having the opportunity to be exposed to filmmaking at a very, very young age. I was in middle school when I got to do some video making and then also do my first animation movie. So I was exposed very early and I liked it. Well, I would say I loved it and just kept working at it. So having the opportunity to do that and also having a story that people can relate to. Because I remember when in high school there was a filmmaking class and they would show the movies at the end of the year. And I was like, what in the hell? What are we watching? Like, what is that? I don't understand what's happening right now. And so I always wanted to make the stories that I did very accessible. I want people to understand. I wanted to be not simple, but I wanted you to understand and be very clear about what story I was telling. So after just practicing that, I was just like, this feels right. And seeing Spike do it and achieve it said, oh, I can potentially do this. As a career. And so, there was a lot of trial there. And a lot of little reinforcements along the way. Getting into the Disney screenwriting program after I did undergrad at Georgetown. Getting into NYU Film School. Making short movies that, actually got into film festivals and won film festivals and got to be on PBS and got to be on Showtime. Little things that let me know, okay, don't give up. Keep pushing your screenplays. They're not quite there, but there's something here. And of course, there's lots of frustration along the way. But you have to have perseverance, and you have to have belief that you're going to do it. You can't just be like, whatever. Right? You have to keep pursuing it. So that was important for me. No, hold on. You already asked 2 questions. Oh, you done killed the mic. Oh, they're both dead.
While we're waiting, I want to ask a question, or you can let them know, how do they get the Sable?
Sable?
How do they get
SableBourbon.com. Oh, you don't say it again? Oh. Can you go across the border to Maryland and pick up some? Say it again? Your distributors here. Yeah, no, look, I mean, like, you're going to get a taste of tonight. You're going to want to cross the border to get some. You know, it's a black-owned brand, and where, you know, again, the brothers of the Best Man have done it. So, you know, get a sample tonight, and then, you know, I know you potentially get it online, but if you have to cross the border, go ahead and do that. I think they got it in Jersey, too. Jersey and Maryland. Maryland. I said Maryland.
I'm here on the front row, so I can.
No, the mic's working.
Okay.
The mic's working.
Okay. Oh, okay.
So just so you know, it's coming on, but it's blinking off. Okay. I'm very familiar with cordless mics. Trust me, I'll tell you.
All right. So, good evening, Malcolm.
Good evening.
So glad I came. I am an Audible woman. Okay.
An Audible.
Audible. I can listen to a griot forever, and I'm always interested in. I mean, your book is so much a part of you. Do you have any input on the narrators that are chosen for your book when it goes to Audible?
Absolutely. Well, but to be clear, Audible is its own thing, and we do have the Penguin Random House is our distributor, and we have our own, you know, rights to do the audio. So that audio is coming on next week on 15th. And so yes, I do have input. You know, they send me actors and narrators to do it, and I listen and I say, okay, they'd be good, and we go from there. So I do have input, yes.
Awesome. As I make my way over to the young lady right here, do you have a favorite movie of yours that's one of yours, and do you have a favorite movie outside of yours?
You know, when I get asked the question of my favorite movie, what I tend to say is that there are movies that I think that accomplished a number of things. One is definitely the movie I wanted to make, which is usually the case. 2, it resonated with audiences in either a critical or a box office way. And so I would say there's 3, and I would say it's Best Man Holiday, and Girls Trip. I think those movies, like, I wouldn't say they're my favorite, but they're certainly the movies that really struck a chord with the audience.
Hi, I came from Philadelphia.
Welcome to Delaware.
Yeah. But I would like to thank you for doing the YouTube too, because I saw you on the YouTube and I said, oh wow, I got tickets for that, so I most definitely am going to go. So I'm glad that I came, and it's been awesome. But I would like to know, on your tour, are you stopping in Philly?
We are trying to work that out. I was already in Philadelphia at Roots Picnic. I did a talk with Tariq Trotter from the Roots. That was very brief. You know, we did talk about the book. We are trying to work out so that I'll be in Philadelphia. Yes.
But who are you working with? I may know someone.
You might know somebody.
I may know
okay,
someone.
We'll talk afterwards.
Okay.
Who you
Philly
with?
in the house.
Who are you
Oh,
with?
but this,
I get scared when Philadelphia people ask me that.
I got 2 more questions. This was going to be the last one. However, a brother asked he has a question. So
all right.
Hi, Malcolm. Welcome
Hello.
to Delaware.
Thank you.
It's an honor to meet you in person. My name is Joyce. I'm a brand new author. I've just written my first book, which comes out.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, it comes out in August. I'm planning my book launch. I wanted to see if you can give me some advice as I go through the journey, you know, with all the challenges with me being a brand new author from small Delaware. I'm not well known. but this is something I have a passion with, being that it's my memoir, it's my story. I'm being very vulnerable, but it's my truth. And although initially I had written it for generations to come, so my great-great-grandchildren can know who I was, at some point down the journey, I wanted to, just tell my story to everyone. But could you please give me some advice on how to go through this as a new author?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have like sage advice, meaning that this is my first journey along the way. I think that what I would say to you is like, make sure that your expectations are at a level that you won't that you're going to get them met, right? Be realistic in those expectations and what you really want from this from an audience perspective, and what you want for people to come away with, and how you want to be seen as an artist, as a person in this industry, because people's attention span are very, very short, and unless you're making a ton of noise, it's very hard for people to get people's attention because everyone's so fractured everywhere. But if you are passionate about the story you've told and you think you've told it the best you can and no one else can tell that story, then you've done your job. People will find it and people will find you. So I would just say, like, use your social media, use any platform that you have and any friends you have, anytime you meet with somebody, get their email address, get their IG handle. And that's how Tyler Perry did it. He, whenever he had a show, he got everybody's emails and just kept, in communication with people. And that made his audience grow a lot. So I don't have great advice, but you just got to keep pursuing things. And then I would say, have expectations. Set your expectations in a real place, in a moderate place. Believe me, as successful as I am, when it comes to movies, I want to set expectations low. From the studios, that's why they don't give me a whole lot of money to make the movie. And when I deliver a high, that's the best thing, because they're like, oh wow, this is great. And this is when you hear things like, oh, this movie overperformed, because the expectations were low. That's fine. I don't mind being there, because you expect little from me and I deliver high, then you're gonna keep wanting to hire me.
Awesome, Carl. We got two more brothers. Is that okay? Two more.
I just had a quick question. What made you throw the New Edition scene in there? Because listen, now what you did for brothers like me is, now when we get together, we got to rap or sing, dance, do something. That wasn't fair for the brothers like me.
Hey,
so
man, it's all right.
What made you throw that in the movie?
The ladies liked your little performance. It actually was inspired by this thing that actually happened at Georgetown. There were contests back in the day called Air Band, and in fact, I don't know if you guys know who Jaron Jackson is, but Jaron Jackson played for the Georgetown Hoyas, and he was one of the guys that performed. It was him and the three other guys, and they did a great job. I mean, they didn't do that dance routine, but I thought, okay, that's a great. I love that song. And it just fit, and it was a good kind of nostalgic thing for, I think, a college memory for them. So yeah, it's one of those scenes that people just love, and I knew it was one of those. I knew it was going to be one of those things. So that's why. Sorry, but I know you enjoyed it.
So
Malcolm, have you mastered the moves yet? Not all of them. Okay, keep working on it.
So Malcolm, I'm a major New Edition fan. Growing up, I thought I was Ralph Tresvant. I had my shag combed down. Trust me, I tell you. But my babe right here, my wife is right here. Now, didn't we do that dance step, and then we seen it in the movie? Am I right or wrong? Me and my boys already did the New Edition thing one night. We brought the ladies over, and then to see it in the you
got it on video.
Oh, they may have it on. I hope they don't. But
send it to me.
All right, we did it. We did it. Well, am I lying? All right, come on, I'm making sure. But yeah, I was Ralph Tresvant, as even today, I think I'm Ralph. Anyway.
Did he do it?
I do, y'all. I think I'm Ralph.
Did he do it good?
I got four. I got my boys, though. Me and my boys, we tight.
I want to see it.
We might have to find that video. All right, good. One last question. We got another brother, so I want to make sure, the brothers don't get outnumbered too bad. You know what I mean? Are you good?
Peace, brother. How you doing?
Peace.
How do you go about developing your characters without having them repeat characteristics?
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to be very specific about the story you're trying to tell, and the environment in which a person comes from. There's so much that goes into what makes a person, and so like you have to be specific about their background, their childhood trauma, their childhood memories, how they were brought up, what kind of environment they were brought up, what they want in life. That's the most important thing you have to ask a character is what do they want? And, you just have to, it takes work, it takes development. You can't just say, okay, I know this dude, from the block who's blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, what is he doing? What does he want? Where does he come from? What's his sign, if you believe in astrology? What are the things that make him do the things he does? Does he have any fears? Does he have any desires? What is it? What kind of food does he like? What does he smell like? How does he dress? And so you ask all those questions about character, and then and then you go to the next character, and then how do they interact? How do they even get into the same situation? How do they meet? You know what I mean? So it takes a lot of pre-writing. You don't just go and start writing stuff on the page. You have to know who your characters are, so that when they come across a situation, you know how they're going to react. Because otherwise you're just like, oh well, I don't know. If you don't know exactly what everything you need to know about the character, then you're going to get stuck. You're going to have writer's block. Wow. That's going to happen. Wow. So I'll give you an example. Like when I did Best Man, you have to also listen to outside sources. Like when I did the original Best Man, Robin was never coming to the wedding, right? And I was like, yep, that's going to be it. He's going to go down there, hang out with his friends. He's going to, his book's going to get out. Lance is going to figure it out. He's going to beat him up. He's going to learn, but he's still going to get Lance, over the broom. And he's going to come back and he's going to ask Robin to move in with him. And my, executives were like, it's good, but it's not quite. What if Robin came to the wedding? I said, that's ridiculous. No. And so what happens? You have to ask yourself the question, what if? Okay? So what happens? She comes, he's beat up, he can't find Lance, he's trying to save face. She gets there, she's all cheery. Hey, how you doing? And then he's just he just breaks down. Right? What happens? He tells her he confesses everything. He confesses his sins. And she's like, all right, well, you handle this. I'm out of here. I need you. And she says, because of who she is, because of the heart that she has, I can't just leave him like this. Even though he did me dirty, I'm going to help him because it's bigger than him, right? And so what happens? She makes him go get Lance. She makes him. She smooths things out in the bridesmaid's room, and she's still forgiving. And what does he have to do now? I can't just ask her to move me. This woman is for me. This woman's in my corner. So you have to know who the characters are.
Thank you, brother. Thank you so much. Good question. Ladies and gentlemen, one more time for Mr. Malcolm D. Lee. Y'all can do better than that. Do better than that. Yes, the amazing Malcolm D. Lee.
The one last thing I want to say about the book, Storehouse Voices is the publisher, and that is a black woman-owned and operated operation. This is their first book. Okay, so there's enough. If getting the Best Man book isn't enough, know that you are supporting a black business by doing this, and black women in particular, who have always supported me in my endeavors. Can we get a picture of the audience? Like, can everybody
absolutely
stand and whoever's got a book in their hand, hold it up.
Yes, and real quick, if you already purchased the book, go to the right corridor, go off that way to the right. And if you haven't purchased the book, you can go on to the left, which we want that line really, really small.
Everyone hold the book up.
Hold the book up.
Wait, I'm gonna do video. Sorry, hold on. Shoot. Wait a minute. All right, and let's see. Here we go. Wait, I'm gonna put it. There we go. And on 3, I want everyone in the room to say "Best Man Unfinished Business." On 3. 1, 2, 3. Best Man Unfinished Business. All right, and where are we? Where are we?
What's up, Delaware?
We are in Delaware.
Delaware, make some noise!
Delaware!
The best man unfinished business.
All right.
The man himself, Malcolm D. Lee. Awesome job, awesome job. One, two. If you want the bourbon, we have a couple bottles of bourbon. It's going to be in the reception area.